Hello everyone and welcome to the Young and the Restless channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. The tension in Genoa City thickens as Friday unfolds, pulling every character deeper into a web of urgency, fear, and impossible choices. At Crimson Lights, the warm hum of conversation and the clinking of coffee cups is quietly disrupted by a revelation that changes everything. Dr. Stephanie Simmons sits across from Sharon Newman, her voice steady but heavy with truth as she finally admits that Holden Novak is her son. The weight of that confession barely has time to settle before Holden himself appears, stepping onto the patio with an air of determination that suggests he already knows what must come next. Without hesitation, he decides he wants to meet with Malcolm and Lily Winters, setting in motion a moment that feels as though it could shift the course of multiple lives. Stephanie wastes no time summoning them, her urgency betraying just how much is at stake. But hope, fragile and fleeting, is quickly overshadowed by disappointment when Holden receives a message that changes everything. As he reads the results, a quiet dread washes over him, and when he finally speaks, the words land like a devastating blow. He is not a donor match. The air grows heavier, thick with unspoken fears and dashed expectations as Lily struggles to regain control of the situation. Refusing to let despair take hold, she immediately shifts into action, planning to contact the twins and have them tested as soon as possible, clinging to the possibility that another answer might still exist. Malcolm, weighed down by guilt, turns to Stephanie with a heartfelt apology for never mentioning his grandchildren before, the regret in his voice echoing louder than any words could fully express. Meanwhile, Lily reaches out to Devon Winters, her voice urgent as she arranges for the use of the jet, preparing for an immediate trip to Los Angeles. In that moment, the story pivots from hope to a race against time, where every second feels like it could mean the difference between life and loss. Across town, another storm is quietly brewing, one driven not by medical urgency but by instinct and fear. Chelsea Lawson confides in Sharon, her unease impossible to ignore as she admits she has a terrible feeling about Las Vegas. The fear isn't abstract, it's vivid, haunting, and deeply personal, fueled by a nightmare in which Adam Newman slips back into the dangerous persona of Spider. Sharon does her best to ground her, reminding Chelsea that Nick Newman is already in Vegas, standing by Adam's side, offering reassurance that everything will be okay. But reassurance feels hollow in the face of instinct, and Chelsea can't shake the gnawing certainty that something is very wrong. Each unanswered call to Adam only deepens that fear, turning anxiety into something sharper, something urgent, and finally, unable to endure the waiting any longer, Chelsea makes a decision that feels both bold and inevitable. She's going to Vegas herself, no matter what it takes. Meanwhile, in the neon-lit tension of Las Vegas, the stakes rise to a dangerous new level as Nick finds himself hiding in the shadows, watching Adam's every move. From his vantage point, he witnesses Adam in conversation with Reza Thompson, a woman who seems to hold more power in this situation than anyone is comfortable with. She offers Adam his share of recent winnings, but Adam refuses, his confidence bordering on reckless as he insists he can win far more. There's a spark between them, one that quickly escalates when Reza suggests a private celebration later, and Adam agrees without hesitation. Then, in a moment that feels like a betrayal, even if it's part of a larger plan, Adam kisses her, unaware or perhaps unconcerned that Nick is watching it all unfold. The sight clearly rattles Nick, who later confronts Adam, questioning just how far he's willing to go. Adam remains resolute, insisting that while he has to play along, there are lines he won't cross, drawing a boundary that may or may not hold under pressure. As the pieces continue to move, Riza returns to her room, where Matt Clark is already waiting, his presence casting a shadow over everything. She assures him that Spider is ready to meet whenever he is, and soon after, she confirms with Adam over the phone that he'll arrive at her suite within the hour. But Matt isn't easily convinced. His suspicion lingers as he presses Riza for details, sensing that something is being hidden beneath the surface. She deflects smoothly, denying any romantic history with Spider, her performance flawless even as tension simmers beneath her calm exterior. Back outside, Nick wrestles with the plan, torn between caution and the need to act, while Adam insists they've come too far to turn back now. The mission has already crossed too many lines and retreat is no longer an option. The danger escalates when Nick, fueled by a sudden drug boost in the bathroom, takes matters into his own hands. With renewed determination, he insists on being the one to ambush Matt, to finally bring him down and end this dangerous game. Adam is clearly uneasy with the idea, but he ultimately agrees on one condition: he'll stay close, ready to step in if anything goes wrong. It's a fragile agreement, built on trust that feels increasingly uncertain as the stakes climb higher. Nick moves forward with the plan, positioning himself outside Riza's room as he speaks to Adam on the phone, the tension between them palpable even through the line. Adam urges him to keep the phone on, to maintain that connection no matter what happens, and Nick agrees, slipping the device into his pocket as he prepares to step into the unknown. And then, in a single moment, everything unravels. As Nick enters the room, expecting to take control, the situation flips instantly and violently. From behind, Matt strikes with precision, throwing a bag over Nick's head before he has a chance to react. The ambush is swift, brutal, and completely unexpected, leaving Nick disoriented and powerless. In the final seconds of the episode, it becomes chillingly clear that Matt has gained the upper hand, turning the hunter into the hunted. And as the screen fades, the tension lingers, unresolved and suffocating, leaving one question echoing louder than all the rest. How far will this dangerous game go before it finally breaks everyone involved? The darkness in that Las Vegas room feels almost alive as Nick struggles beneath the sudden, suffocating grip of the bag, the world around him collapsing into panic and confusion. Every instinct tells him to fight, to break free, to regain control, but Matt Clark is already in command, moving with cold precision that leaves no room for hesitation. The sound of muffled resistance echoes through the room, swallowed by the thick tension that has been building for far too long. Outside, Adam remains on the phone, unaware that everything inside is already spiraling beyond control. The connection, now a fragile lifeline that may be too late to matter. In that moment, the entire plan teeters on the edge of disaster, as one wrong move threatens to undo everything Nick and Adam have risked to achieve. And just like that, the ambush that was meant to end Matt Clark's game becomes the opening move of something far more dangerous. Adam, still holding on to the call, senses something is wrong almost instantly, his voice sharpening with concern as the silence stretches too long on the other end. He urges Nick to respond, to say something, anything, but all he receives is distortion and chaos, a chilling sign that things have gone off course. His instincts flare, but so does his restraint, because stepping in too early could ruin everything they have built. Torn between action and strategy, Adam remains rooted in place, the weight of responsibility pressing down harder with every passing second. The situation is no longer under control. It is slipping into something unpredictable, something that cannot be easily reversed. And in that fragile silence, danger continues to tighten its grip. Meanwhile, far from the neon-lit tension of Las Vegas, Chelsea Lawson is already in motion. Her decision no longer a thought but a commitment, carved into urgency. The unease she felt earlier has now hardened into certainty. A relentless pull she can no longer ignore as she prepares to leave for Vegas. Sharon's reassurances still echo in her mind, but they feel distant now, overshadowed by the vivid nightmare that refuses to fade. Adam's unanswered calls only deepen her conviction, each missed connection reinforcing the belief that something has already gone terribly wrong. There is no longer room for hesitation or doubt, only action, only movement toward the place where everything feels on the verge of collapse. And as Chelsea sets her plans into motion, the distance between fear and reality begins to disappear. Back in Genoa City, a different kind of urgency continues to unfold at Crimson Lights, where the consequences of Holden Novak's test results ripple outward with growing intensity. The revelation that he is not a donor match leaves Lily Winters searching desperately for another path forward, refusing to accept that this may be a dead end. Her mind races with possibilities, pushing her to accelerate plans that might connect her to the twins as quickly as possible. Malcolm Winters, still burdened by regret, carries the weight of missed knowledge and lost time, his apology lingering in the air like an unanswered question. Stephanie Simmons remains caught in the middle, watching the situation fracture into urgency and emotional strain, knowing that every decision now carries life or death consequences. And as Lily coordinates with Devon about the jet, the urgency transforms into motion once again, sending another thread of this crisis spiraling toward Los Angeles. At the same time, the situation in Las Vegas continues to unravel in dangerous silence as Nick struggles to regain control inside the room where Matt now holds the advantage. Every second that passes tightens the noose around their plan, forcing Adam into a position where hesitation is no longer an option. The operation they carefully constructed begins to fracture under pressure, revealing just how little margin for error they truly had. Adam's frustration builds not just at the situation but at the realization that Matt Clark may have anticipated more than they were prepared to admit. What was meant to be a calculated ambush now feels like walking blindly into a trap. And as the stakes rise, so does the certainty that nothing about this confrontation is going according to plan. Chelsea's journey towards Las Vegas now takes on a more desperate tone, her mind replaying every unanswered call and every instinct that warned her something was wrong. The road ahead feels less like travel and more like a race against fate itself, as if arriving even a minute too late could change everything forever. Sharon's final words of reassurance linger in memory, but they are no longer enough to quiet the storm building inside her. There is a sense that she is being pulled toward a breaking point, one she cannot yet see but can already feel approaching. And as her resolve hardens, so does the emotional weight of what she may find when she finally arrives. In Las Vegas, the confrontation reaches its most precarious edge yet as Adam is forced to decide how far he is willing to go to salvage the mission. The line between strategy and survival begins to blur, especially as Nick remains compromised inside the room, trapped under Matt's control. Every instinct tells Adam to intervene, but every calculation warns him to wait just a little longer. It is a devastating balance between trust and risk, one that leaves no outcome guaranteed. And as the tension reaches its peak, the sense grows stronger that this encounter is no longer just about catching Matt Clark. It is about who will make it out at all. The suffocating tension in Las Vegas deepens as the situation inside Reza Thompson's suite spirals further out of control. Nick Newman struggles violently beneath Matt Clark's grip, the bag still restricting his vision and turning every movement into blind desperation. Matt remains calculated and unhurried, as if he has already anticipated every possible outcome and chosen the one where he always wins. Outside the room, the fragile coordination between Adam and Nick begins to crack. The phone line, now a lifeline, stretched to its breaking point. Adam's voice sharpens again, demanding confirmation, demanding proof that Nick is still in control. But the silence that follows is anything but reassuring. Every passing second feels like a descent into chaos, where the original plan no longer feels like a plan at all, but a gamble against a man who may already be several steps ahead. Inside the room, Nick's resistance begins to falter as Matt tightens his advantage, forcing him into a position where survival becomes the only immediate goal. The ambush that was meant to trap Matt has now inverted completely, revealing just how quickly control can shift in the wrong hands. Shadows move across the room in distorted flashes, and Nick's disorientation makes it nearly impossible to anticipate the next strike. Matt's presence feels almost deliberate, as though he is not just reacting but orchestrating every second of Nick's downfall. And in that suffocating imbalance of power, the danger becomes unmistakably clear. This is no longer a mission, but a personal collapse unfolding in real time. Meanwhile, Adam stands outside that same door, torn between instinct and restraint, as the consequences of intervening begin to weigh heavily on him. He knows that rushing in could expose everything, but waiting could cost Nick his life, or worse, hand Matt exactly what he wants. The phone remains pressed to his ear, but communication has become fragmented, distorted by panic and uncertainty. Each breath feels heavier, each second more expensive than the last, as Adam is forced into the most dangerous position of all, helpless awareness. And yet, even in that helplessness, there is a growing realization that the line between observer and participant no longer exists. Elsewhere, Chelsea Lawson is already on her way, her journey toward Las Vegas now fully set in motion, fueled by fear that has hardened into determination. The emotional weight she carries is no longer just concern. It is certainty that something irreversible is unfolding. Adam's silence has become louder than any explanation could ever be, filling her thoughts with images she cannot shake. Sharon's earlier reassurance feels distant now, like a memory from another life, unable to compete with the urgency driving her forward. The road ahead feels endless, but Chelsea refuses to slow down, as if arriving sooner might somehow change what is already in motion. And with every mile, the distance between intuition and reality continues to shrink. Back in Genoa City, the ripple effects of Holden Novak's failed donor match continue to spread, tightening the emotional pressure surrounding Lily Winters and Malcolm Winters. Lily refuses to let disappointment define the outcome, immediately pushing forward with contingency plans that feel more like survival strategy than medical coordination. Her urgency transforms into action as she pushes Devon Winters again about the jet, determined to keep momentum alive even as hope grows thinner. Malcolm, still burdened by regret, remains trapped in reflection, wishing he had known sooner about the existence of his grandchildren and the opportunities lost in silence. Stephanie Simmons stands at the center of this emotional storm, witnessing how quickly hope can turn into urgency and urgency into desperation. And as each decision accelerates, the fragile balance between possibility and loss becomes harder to maintain. In Las Vegas, the confrontation inside Reza's suite reaches its most unstable point yet, as Matt Clark's upper hand forces everyone involved to confront the reality of failure. The carefully constructed plan has not just faltered, it has been compromised at its core, exposing vulnerabilities no one had fully prepared for. Adam's frustration turns inward as he realizes just how dangerous Matt truly is, and how easily their assumptions may have underestimated him. Nick's situation inside the room continues to deteriorate, making it clear that time is no longer an ally. And as the operation teeters on the edge of collapse, one truth becomes unavoidable. Whatever happens next will define not just the outcome of this mission, but the fate of everyone drawn into Matt Clark's dangerous return. The chaos inside Riza Thompson's suite in Las Vegas continues to escalate, but now it carries a heavier, more suffocating silence, one where every second feels stretched to its breaking point. Nick Newman remains trapped in Matt Clark's control, disoriented and struggling as the pressure of the ambush completely reverses against him. Matt moves with a chilling sense of confidence, no longer reacting like a man caught in a trap, but like someone who has already rewritten the rules of the encounter in his favor. The air in the room feels tight, almost unnatural, as if the walls themselves are closing in on Nick's fading chance to regain control. Outside, Adam Newman is still tethered to the situation through the phone call, but even that connection feels unreliable now, fractured by silence and fear. The mission they believed was carefully orchestrated is now unraveling into something far more dangerous and unpredictable. Adam's frustration grows into something sharper as he listens for any sign of Nick's voice, but all he gets is instability and distance. The realization sets in that Matt Clark may have anticipated more than they ever gave him credit for, turning their carefully laid trap into a reversal they never saw coming. Every instinct in Adam tells him to act immediately, to force his way in and end this before it spirals further. But the risk of exposing the entire operation still holds him back. It is a brutal contradiction. Waiting could cost Nick everything, but rushing in could destroy any chance of stopping Matt for good. That internal war leaves Adam frozen in a dangerous middle ground, where hesitation itself becomes a liability. And in that fragile standoff between action and restraint, the situation inside the room continues to deteriorate without mercy. Inside, Nick's struggle weakens further as Matt maintains absolute control, turning the confrontation into something increasingly one-sided and terrifyingly precise. The ambush that was meant to expose Matt has instead revealed just how deeply they underestimated him, and that miscalculation now carries consequences that cannot be undone. Every movement Nick makes is met with resistance, every attempt to regain footing swallowed by Matt's control of the situation. The psychological weight of the encounter begins to take its toll, not just physically but mentally, as the realization sinks in that this was never going to be simple. Matt isn't just surviving the trap, he is dominating it. And that shift changes everything about what comes next. Elsewhere, Chelsea Lawson continues her urgent journey toward Las Vegas, her decision now fully transformed into commitment, no longer guided by doubt but by overwhelming instinct. The road ahead feels endless, but her thoughts are consumed by Adam and the unanswered calls that have become increasingly alarming. Each missed connection deepens her conviction that something has already gone wrong in ways she cannot yet see.